protect the sheep, you gotta catch the wolf. And it takes a wolf to catch a wolf, you understand?
Babylon and generation P8 with clean sense, uncommon, can you see straight? Freeze frames by the block in the deep state, deep fake DNA. I'm mobbing with the think tank. We on the block with the guards where the beats done. Go makes it loud for a law, get your beat stung. Freeze frame, make it hard for bombers roll through. That hating energy get barbecue beef bump. You work a third every day to get the shame. Yeah, we got just like the murderers and rapists that you claim. So we burn a little sage, then we raid in your spot.
Get down, nigga, get your motherfucking ass down. What that motherfucking dope at? Fuck, nigga.
Pull crime, cake of people, yo crime, slow crime, flow crime, cake of crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, cake of crime, yo crime, slow crime, slow crime, cake of crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, cake of crime, yo crime, slow crime, flow crime, cake of crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, cake of crime, yo crime, slow crime, flow crime, cake of crime.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. He's fired.
Why you tryna get me? I can pay.
Fired!
My nigga, I ain't hate. Nah. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers. Rape, and thieves, so why should I be paid?
I said he pull crime, cold crime, slow crime, slow crime, cold crime, cold crime.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. He's fired. Fired!
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
And my nigga, I ain't hating. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know every day that they got come for strike. So why you tryna get me? I can pay. My nigga, I ain't hating. Nah. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers. Right, thieves. So why should I be?
Warning. The Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters, who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, nitaoism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Welcome to Thought Crimes, everyone. This is your girl, Sincere, and I'm here with...
Yo, this is your man, Payola Prince Solomon in the building. Y'all, we back at it again, and we are here for this wonderful night live stream, too, by the way. Shouts out to the wonderful people in the chat that decided to slide through. Let's get into it. As you guys can tell by the title, Drake, the Julius Ceasar of hip-hop. We got to put that out there. Julius Ceasar of hip-hop. You know, saying, what do you think about that? I mean, because, look, there's a lot of things taking place. We covered a little bit of it earlier this morning.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, when I was seeing online and, you know, he still hasn't, the Brutus still hasn't been revealed in his inner circle, I was thinking, Julius Ceasar. Is this, you know, it actually went 8 a.m. Charlotte describes, he was basically describing that type of energy that of what he personally feel. Now, again, this is not to take sides. This is just to talk about Drake's perspective. We talked about Future's perspective. We talked about ASAP Rocky perspective. ASAP feels that Drake is being
Colas Brutus.
Yeah, you know, ASAP Rocky feels Drake being a hoe about, you know, based off of females and all this other stuff. So every guy has their perspective of why they feel Drake needs to go back to Canada. But I think this has more to do with even more than ejecting him from Atlanta, even though, you know, that's one of the, in the market in the United States, you know, we were one of the first ones to have that live show to talk about it in that angle. But when you have Abel here, it also creates another layer because this also creates possible issues with him in Toronto when you talk about The Weeknd, you talk about Nav. So we wanted to just break down this particular narrative of the Julius Caesar angle, and even when The Weeknd hinted towards, you still have some issues in your camp.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right about that. No, great point. It's a great point. You know, you do a great job. Actually, no, we covered this, just to put this out there, chat. Look, Think Tank, look, guys, y'all know if you've been listening to us for a moment, we talked about this Julius Caesar situation. We talked about Nero elements. And, you know, these are all men in the industry that have acquired power somewhere. It doesn't matter if you feel that, you know, I can look. We've seen videos of Young Thug fighting, right? You know, we've seen videos of Drake boxing in the ring. There's a lot of men, right? This is quote unquote hypermasculization. So there's a lot of men. Oh, I can take him, right? I always tell you that ain't what determines whether or not somebody's moving with something. Now, is can you get to that person? You get what I'm saying? You know, we didn't see old ladies, you know, somebody try to rob something up out of them, take out somebody. We hear stories about old people coming out on their Gran Torino stuff, get off my land. Yeah, it might be an old 88-year-old individual that, you know, needs his magnesium. But I tell you what, when old buddy come off with that sawed off, you got to get your ass out that house very quickly. Now, that being the case where we are covering this situation, Drake, as you all can see, you know, at this point, the grand conspiracy is out in the open. You know, Sincere Ignorance and Prince Solomon, you know, this Thought Crimes. We talked about several times about Drake's last dance. We talked about several times of people wanting to eject him up out of the industry. And this is at the time when Drake was seen as making more likable hits in the public. And look, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, like people that deal with any of these celebrities that are fans or whatever, they jumped in our comment section. What are y'all talking about? There's no grand conspiracy against Drake. Nothing's going to take place. Well, look where we are. We are in the second installment of We Still Don't Like You, and we're seeing more people coming out that are clearly saying, we would like to bring your particular reign to an end, sir.
Yeah, and this is the second time around. Second time around. What is dangerous about this one, though, is the first time around when you had Ye and Pusha T and everybody at Wyoming, where we were the first ones to cover that particular story. We also had some insight where people was in the industry telling us about they're about to get Drake. They're about to set up a big fall for him to get him the fuck up out of hip hop. And they mentioned Jay-Z and Ye and, Pusha T and all that. And he left with a major flesh wound. But that was actually the second attempt. The first attempt actually was really with Meek Mill. So the first attempt was with Meek Mill. The second attempt was with Pusha T, which we saw he was able to really bludgeon Drake a lot with the story of Adidon. And then the third attempt is actually with people who are his actual peers. Because remember, Meek was his peer, but it was just one guy. Then it was Rick Ross. So
he was a crash test dummy.
It was a crash test dummy.
He was a crash test dummy.
Then the second one, you had the people above Drake, legends in the game, icons in the game.
Yeah.
Pusha T, a part of a legendary duo with the Clips. You had Ye, you had Wyoming. And now the third time is, of course, with Future, Kendrick, even though I know Kendrick had issues with Drake after the controversy. He felt Drake was being very sensitive. So they had their issue that has grown now into being even more toxic because for 5 years, as Prince broke down and also Night Night broke down, Drake has been subbing people for the 5 years. I actually think that Drake needs to start learning from some of the people that he perceives as anemic, because I think the 5 years that Kendrick took off was very smart. Kendrick was able to weed out people in his inner circle that were treacherous. I think one of the biggest issues that Drake has, and this is why we said Drake the Julius Caesar of hip hop, I think by him not taking a 5-year break, hell, not even taking a 2-year break, has allowed a lot of people in his camp to have the cancer spread. Now, we're not talking about the Futures and, talking about Metro Boomin or even Kendrick. Because to be Julius Caesar, you have to be with someone who's super close to you. It has to be super intimate. So I do think that by Drake not taking a break, by Drake not going away, by Drake not reassessing his inner circle, by him moving nonstop and constantly, I think it has adverse effects overall on his overall health. You even have people in the Breakfast Club, they were saying hip hoppers get donkey of the day, right? Said Cole is a good guy, he needs to step out of this. But recently, the Breakfast Club was just instigating for Drake to continue. They want this to end in bloodshed for Drake. They didn't want it to end in bloodshed for Cole. And I'm talking about the people like the Breakfast Club. If you see what they're doing, they're instigating for a different reason. When Dark Crimes and everybody else on the independent media circuit, we just wanted to see a hip-hop battle. But here you have certain people like the Breakfast Club basically instigating a bloodshed and warfare towards Drake and also towards other people that are involved with this. And the one thing I would say too before I pass it over to Prince, you could tell the industry knows there's a possibility that a rapper may meet an untimely fate, because you have Bootsy and them coming out saying, as a whole, let's just not have the beef, let's not have the hip hop lyrical battle, because it's actually someone can lose a son, someone can lose a parent and all this other stuff. And usually Bootsy don't talk like this. He mind his business in other battles that took place with Drake and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. But for this particular one, Bootsy, D1, and so many other people feel like Vince Staples, they're like, nah, this shouldn't go forward.
Yeah, well, let me see where I want to go with this. Okay. When we were making our statements earlier, some people were saying, all right, guys, that's a bit over dramatization. And then boom, here you go with Bootsy saying the same thing we're saying. I'm not at the LA Laker games with these people. But I told you guys before, I said actually the more aggressive and possible dangerous battle is the one the public is egging on. Now, it's moved beyond hip hop. Charlamagne can sit up there all day with his with the TD Jakes talking points that he gave the public a donkey of the day because they wanted to see a lyrical jousting between two highly accredited MCs, which is J. Cole. Again, shouts out to the E. Colites in Dreamville. Like, they follow us and stuff. But look, you know, at the end of the day, Cole, when he said people want bloodshed, look at the energy that's going on around. I'll give you guys another example, and I'm glad that you brought these up, Sin. We're going to get it. We're going to break down the Julius Caesar angle. Now, remember, there were three conspirators concerning Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, he himself was not necessarily what you call an innocent man. In certain films, you know, there's this notion of who's the hero, who's the villain, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And three conspirators, that one of them did include Brutus. And there's some storied histories concerning Brutus in his relation to Julius Caesar. In fact, Brutus's, I believe it's his mother, had relations with Caesar. So in some historians have argued whether or not was Brutus directly related to Julius Caesar, which would make the final dagger, or one of the final daggers, all the more painful. But there were three conspirators, and they were able to arouse quietly 60 senators. Now, of these 60 senators, many of them have had decent relationships with Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar has actually gifted some of these individuals. They didn't fuck with him, though. They accepted the cosign. They accepted the political promotion in their careers. They got on stage with him. They stood next to him. But they said behind the scenes, I don't like that guy. I have to tolerate him. We have to just deal with him, right? Julius Caesar himself was a man like any other man of immense power, a man of hubris. In fact, when they had to convince him to meet his quote-unquote the Ides of March, when they had to convince him, because he actually had two oracles. The first oracle was Spirina. And then the second one was his wife having a dream about what she saw. Now, Julius Caesar, not being a stupid nigga, so, oh shit, baby, I gotta duck out. Hold on, man. Like, my oracle, my Etruscan oracle just told me that, yo, you may die. You just may die. So Julius Caesar's, okay, I hear you. Then his wife had nightmares. Then he said, I hear you. Then they sent someone, I believe it is Brutus, they sent Brutus, say, hey, man, why don't you come on down? Yo, look, we'll be fine. In fact, they knew how to play into his ego. You know how they got Julius Caesar's ass down there? You know how they got his ass down there? They said, well, you know, the Senate right now, we're going to vote whether or not we want to make you king. His fucking ego was so big. Oh, baby, shit, y'all gonna vote for that on me? Shit, even when he got down there, he was so arrogant, he said, this shit in the bag. When the Senate arose to stand in their tradition and ritual, he refused. Even some of the senators, you know, that was on the iffy, when they saw that from him, they was like, now I remember why we're gonna get this bitch, right? So what they ended up doing, of course, they stabbed him 26 times. And then, of course, there's the, you know, the infamous Brutus, E2, brother, all this other shit, and U2 and all this other type of stuff.
Which was the most important part, because everyone else who stabbed him, he like, I figured, like, when you see Drake talk about, I got enemies, got a lot of, or, you know, when he talk about on her laws, you know, I put my arm around them and smile on stage, but I know you don't like me. But Brutus was the one that he thought really fucked with him.
Right. Now, what Drake, as it is standing right now, as it appears, what it looks like that is happening, no one is bigger than the game. And we're talking about how this thing works. Jay-Z has rapped about it. Nas has rapped about it. Tupac didn't survive the game. Biggie didn't survive the game. Look at Diddy right now. He ain't surviving the game. Has he had one of the longer runs in the game? Absolutely. But this is the reason why we have this. If you know the history of Julius Caesar, in fact, after everything went down, you had Mark Antony, who would speak on the behalf of Caesar. He said, hey, man, I know y'all did some fuck shit. So all of the senators ended up having to run and flee. They ended up having to run and flee because even though they said behind the scenes, we don't agree with Caesar and we don't agree with his thing about this permanence of dictatorship, right? They said we moved in on him. We stabbed the nigga up 26 times, right? Got his ass up out of here, right? Look, we did the game so we did the nigga so dirty they had to carry Julius Caesar's body in the streets. Now you know the public, all they know is the social engineering and the marketing of political Caesar. So all they know is that he's their god, he's their guy. He looked pretty in his togas and all this other shit, right? So when they had to carry his body out in the public, that becomes a martyr right there in that moment. So of course, Mark Anthony being able to speak well, along with Octavia, they all decided to see at the very least, specifically Mark Anthony, I'm going to, as it appears, do Caesar some justice. Now, again, to the point that we're saying here, Julius Caesar, by no stretch of the imagination, was he a nice motherfucker? He wasn't.
And we're not saying what is a good guy. Some things are just subjective. Now, some things aren't. You know, if somebody's messing with kids or whatever, then you know 100% that's a bad guy. But when it comes to good and bad, when it comes to the makeup of every individual and every human being, there's a lot of gray areas. And because there's a lot of gray areas, no one in this battle so far you could say is just completely an evil person. It's kind of like even D1 tried to say, y'all leave Cole alone. Future is making debaucherous music or this and that. But I said, you talk about the Cole who said he would fuck a nigga bitch? I said, D1, don't do that. Don't try to do that and play semantics when it comes to morality. When Cole fucks with Future, you know, he allegedly also fucks with Drake. So don't try to be like the false moral police. But going back into
you gotta be careful. He may be a colorist.
He might come off as a colorist, right?
All you dark niggas. All these evil dark niggas everywhere. Niggas. When
I look in the mirror, I see J. Cole. He looks like me, you know. But getting into it though.
Yeah.
Getting into it, you know, if Drake doesn't step into the light, there's a good chance he could bleed. There's a possibility of that. It's on the table. He has to go into the light.
Well, and again, shouts out to Live Guy. Look, the game is dramatic. Don't you think 2 helpings of the title in itself, we don't trust you. How more Shakespearean can you get? Who is we? And it's only 2 of you niggas.
He said these dudes are rappers. Tupac was a rapper. Big L was a rapper.
What are we talking about?
Nipsey Hussle was a rapper.
Wasn't that a dramatic funeral for Nipsey?
Very dramatic.
Okay, then.
You got rappers who weren't even part of gangs. Pop Smoke dead.
That wasn't that dramatic?
Yeah, come on. He said these are rappers.
Okay.
That's exactly the point.
Now, here's the other side of the game. Right? So, look, I'm just putting this out here as far as Drake being a Julius Caesar, right? Because we're looking at this and, you know, there's some, because we've touched on this topic a couple times before. And we said several times that they would like to get Drake up out of here. Again, that's not saying Drake is a good guy. I'm not here to say that Julius Caesar was not what you call a good person. I'm being clear about that. It's still, though, in the history of books about the military precision that they did, that they acquired power, because even after what took place, Mark Antony goes out to the public, just like what they saw with Lenin and Stalin. Stalin speaks on the behalf of, hey guys, we got to make sure, and they're like, he's our next one, right? A civil war happens in Rome after Julius Caesar is out of here. Just because they're trying to get Drake out of here, quote unquote, this fake culture talk, just because Drake, they want him up out of here, doesn't mean that there's anything better on the other side of the man's absence. Now, again, I'm speaking non-biasedly in the situation. Sin is speaking non-biasedly in the situation.
Who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, because Drake may not be as bad as Julius Caesar. We don't know, but we just know this is the energy that is around.
Exactly. And so here's what was gangster about it. Octavia was the most gangster one to me in the end. Because after all of that shit took place, and he says, yes, we will make sure we do this and that. That motherfucker, he got rid of the Republic. He ended that shit, and he changed and became Augustus and became the first. He became the first emperor in the process, where it's immense a long-term life service. It's nothing like being voted in and out. The whole point is that what came in afterwards was something that was just as egregious as well, what they felt Julius Caesar was working towards. Now, that being the case, though, what does this mean? Now, Sin and I, we have seen other people talk about this stuff, and they're all asking why. Now, on the other side, shouts out to Live Guy. When you come to our channel and you come to our property, when we talk about this stuff, we talk about the other side of it too. I'm not on Clubhouse with Whack 100. I'm not talking to gang members on the app. But what we are saying, there are other elements in the room, as we've stated before. Case in point. Now, there's people that benefit off of making money off the algorithm. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. You guys, what we were going to get allegedly with J. Cole and Kendrick would have strictly just been hip-hop. It would have been Rakim versus Daddy Kane type energy. With this situation, you're going to get everything but hip-hop. Oops. What do you mean by that, you all?
They're going to get the fiery diss tracks they want, though.
You're going to get everything else but hip-hop that comes along with it, because it's going to be only so much of a matter of time before the crews that want to step in. You hear them on Clubhouse. You hear them on YouTube. You hear them on Twitter X app, right? You hear them in their little rooms, right?
They're in the chat right now.
Yeah, you hear them.
Of different camps.
Right. So here's the other side of it. Now, when you get to this, right, think about this. Now, Sauce Walker, this is what I found. I didn't say nothing about it because I know what that is. Sauce Walker. Now, Sauce Walker is a spitter. I think he's an individual that has been able to. I love when niggas challenge being blackballed in an industry that tries to blackball you.
Can you say that again about the spitter? Because I think he can rap too. I feel he's like, people overlook that. That 7 a.m. in Houston
he's a Southern nigga,
was nice.
bro.
And then when he rapped
Southern
over
niggas.
Cole's beat, I feel he did a better job. But yeah.
We always get overlooked. That's okay. I'm fine with it. But no, Sauce Walker does his thing.
He gets busy.
Now, we saw the video that you all saw on Say Cheese being promoted on the internet, right? Now, there's a narrative that Cole switched sides, this, that, that. I said it's a bad week for J. Cole. That's how I feel. It's a bad week for the brother, right? But the record was already recorded. Now, how the tracks were sequenced on We Still Don't Trust You, there was a malicious undertone there, because you would do this grand opera build-up to this one track with J. Cole called Red Leather, right? So then, of course, the internet is going to internet. People talking, they running their mouth, the hip-hop bloggers, everybody claiming they got insider information, trade stock, Martha Stewart niggas in hip-hop. I got insider detail. This is what's going to happen, right? But all of you insider niggas, y'all are not talking about the other elements in the room. So when I saw Drake talking to Sauce Walker, well, if you all understand hip-hop history, and B More talked about it, Sin talks about the Venus cycle, we remember 7 to 8 years ago, Sauce Walker, Future, and Young Thug had an issue with each other. Now, Drake is not a dumb biracial nigga.
He's not a dumb half nigga.
Okay. All right, you got all of this stuff going on in the theatrics of politics of whatever we call this shit, hip-hop and culture, right? You got all of these people that, okay, looks like Kendrick is coming out the blue. Metro Boomin is coming out the blue. ASAP Rocky's coming out the blue. But really, this has been a long chapter because you had to factor in the discography of Drake as well with the subs. And we're talking about the subs moving beyond the whole sparring, the lyrical sparring and jousting between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Because that man said, this is hip-hop and them niggas should know what time it is. However, though, yes, Kendrick is saying that, but Kendrick would have to be real on that one. It's not a Rakim situation. If I diss Rakim in 1988, right, I can go back outside, right? We win. That's the West Coast.
Kendrick knows that, though, now. That's why we said, he said, the coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These niggas talking, don't pull that coffin out your neck.
He said, don't pull that coffin out your neck because the switch talk that Drake was doing. Kendrick was trying to do the Rakim thing for years.
Exactly.
I don't think he's doing that in this situation. Also, when Night Night talked about With the Heart Part 6, you know, that we said on our show that was going to drop and that Night Night told us about, you know, and then also what came to my mind when I said, oh, like that sounds like a setup. But
now,
I do think everybody at this point knows that now. I think that whole part of Rakim versus Big Daddy Kane, I think that
era's gone.
Is
gone.
over right now.
That era's gone, you all.
And like 99 said, they want to see a big
blood
big
fest.
outro, they want a contract to be executed on the last hoorah of these big names in hip hop, because these are the last big
stars.
names.
This is the last of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, Hollywood is in shambles right now. They're doing remakes of the remakes of the remakes. They're giving studios are giving multi-million-dollar contracts to YouTubers for their films to flop publicly. So there's another incentive in all of this. This is where I believe I agree with one part of Vince Staples' commentary. I always like Vince Staples. I wish we could hear more from him. But the other side is this. The labels aren't making any money off of the Nardwicks, the NLE Choppers,
the Sexy Reds,
the Pumps.
None of them make any money. Like, even when people talk about the culture declining and black people being in trouble, I'm like, I tell people on social media, you do know the majority, they don't sell. They can't even sell. They can't sell out concerts. They don't sell on Spotify or whatever. These people are literally, some of them just prostitute flips.
So she's absolutely correct. She's right. Notice something, you all, chat. I want you guys to notice something. All of the niggas that can do well with tours are embroiled in beef with each other right now. Think about that. I'll say that again. J. Cole has incredible tours. Future has sellout tours. Drake, we know what he just came off of, right?
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd has sellout tours.
ASAP Rocky, it doesn't matter that he hasn't dropped in 5 years, but his fan base love him.
Now, the record labels are in a mess right now. You see in UMG with the stuff going on because they're trying to launch their own app right now. That's why they was pulling their information from TikTok. But the record labels, as far as artists are concerned, nothing has been cooking except this situation right now. Now remember, as you can see, for all of these artists to get into it with each other, none of these artists have failed tours. None of these artists have failed merchandise. These artists, in some regards, many of them can still sell physical copies of albums if the technology had permitted it.
Even if they perish. Even if one of these guys perish or a couple of these guys perish, this is very important, their shit will still sell. And remember how they think, how the higher-ups think. Man, so, Tupac was deleted. Mm-hmm. Shit was he went diamond twice.
Look at it. Look at this campaign here. This is a grand campaign, right? And who is quote unquote a part of the sacrifice in front of the Moloch owl? The nigga that logo is a fucking owl, because all of this is centered around Drake. At the end of the day, I'm not saying they're jumping Drake. Drake has been out here running his mouth as well. He has to eat that. Okay, he has to eat that. All right, I don't want to hear this. You talking about people's planes falling out the sky. You got to eat that nigga.
Yeah, some of it was people starting with him, but some of it is him. Because your point, ASAP Rocky wasn't thinking about Drake until he felt from his perspective, he thought that Drake was taking personal dangerous shots towards Rihanna.
Yeah, ASAP was painting his fingernails somewhere.
right now, looking for another, designing clothes and stuff.
So you mean to tell me, you all, this so-called, and I'll say this to the listeners, you guys are smart. Some of you all are saying, bro, but where does what started? Why is this all happening right now? Look, Rihanna can sell records. She's a legacy artist. She'll always be able to come out of retirement and make her record. They're rating on R9 right now. Wouldn't it be so convenient that she drops R9 and all of this? How many of you all have to understand, or do you understand, that the record labels are very desperate right now? They're laying off thousands of people. They have not had anything to garner any interest like this for the public, where the YouTubers are screaming at the top of their lung, podcasters are screaming at the top of their lung about they're expecting and they're excited for this type of music right now, or music in general. So you have look what's being sold right now. Potentially people are waiting for what Drake may drop. They're waiting for a possible album there. Record labels are happy. And then you have to look at who they're all signed to, right? Then, of course, we're waiting for Kendrick Lamar. Oh, guess what? Now, J. Cole got an album coming out. Is Rihanna going to drop R9? Because she just got dissed in the process.
That's a good point. Let's talk about all the people who still sells. Beyonce, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Taylor Swift. These are Future, Metro, Ceasar, right? So right now, you literally have The Weeknd. So it's quite interesting that you have in this one civil war, you got the biggest, all the hip hoppers who sell, who merch the music, Travis Scott, everything. Why are all these people embroiled in beef? And that's what we talked about with the COINTELPRO. Like, people talk about COINTELPRO for Diddy. No. Diddy was
COINTELPRO.
He was COINTELPRO. Diddy
allegedly.
Diddy allegedly. I got a case on all you bitches. Diddy allegedly has cases and tapes on everybody. This is just something we've been talking about for a very long time. This is a very dangerous situation because they do allegedly collect on their insurances.
Oh, absolutely. That is not even alleged. You're right, beautiful. It's not even alleged. That has already been put online. There's been wonderful articles written by, shouts out to DJ Booth. Check out DJ Booth's website. I think is one of the best websites concerning music intel, music industry insider information, how things work and arrange. But, the insurance policy has been covered several times about what goes on with these artists. I mean, you guys heard about concerning even with Aaliyah, the $90 million insurance policy. And the reason why I want to make this clear, because there's other elements in the room now. You have other elements in the room. So, look, whatever the optics are for speculation or for social media, Drake piecing it up seemingly with Sauce Walker, knowing Sauce Walker, us who know Sauce Walker's past history concerning the likes of Future and Young Thug. And here we go again, Atlanta and Houston. This happened before. This has happened several times for those people that are outside of the Third Coast in the Southern District, right, of the United States. Often, and every now and then, Atlanta and Houston, there's a frenemy-inship in the space of entertainment. The citizens is not necessarily the same. People leave Atlanta, they go work in Houston and get better pay because money in Texas is real good. People in Texas that have aspirations to be fashion designers or artists, animators, directors, they go to Atlanta. Right. So there's always been that, just like no different when you see people left the South and they moved to LA, or they left the South, they went to Jersey, or people that leave Chicago, they go to Texas, or they go somewhere else to try to make better ends for themselves, as black people usually have to do in this country.
And then we also got the death of Pimp C. He was definitely an important figure in trying to keep Atlanta and Houston relationships positive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's another story. But you're right about that in the end, because at the point of Knocking Doors Down, which is a classic track, Knocking Doors Down. But you got to keep this in mind, folks. Don't you think it's strange, like conveniently so, just putting this out there, y'all. Here's the thing. Takeoff gets killed in Houston, right?
He's a Atlanta artist.
Well, at least he's classified, because the boys are from Lawrenceville, but they're classified publicly as being a part of Atlanta.
In the music market.
Yeah, in the music market of Atlanta.
Although, to be fair to them, they do always mention it in their music. We're from the North.
Yeah, so you have a situation where that takes place, but then all of a sudden, Mr. Middle Fingers, Bruce Wayne of Atlanta, Metro Boomin, right? Now, the number one artist, also who has a proximity what goes on in Houston, Texas as well. All of this stuff is taking place seemingly so as it stands. You heard what ASAP Rocky said at the end of now. Metro Boomin is online and he's saying, hey, by the way, we did put out this mixtape. So this mixtape we just put out there where you had all of these beats and I told Sin, I said some of them instrumentals sound like they were from 2013 to 2015.
They're still hot though,
right? But they wanted Future to go into his bag, and he was going into his bag, right, when he was having his mixtape run with Beast Mode 1 and 2. And remember, he had the Purple Rain situation as well, right? And then Sauce Walker came out and he said that basically he felt Future was sliding into his territory with the whole Purple Rain talk, because concerning Houston, Texas as well, with the likes of DJ Screw and not Corey Mo, but Fat Pad, and you got Kiki the Don, you got all of this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, in this market, there are not only the artists, but there are corporations that desire to make moves in these regions. It's the same thing. You have Chicago comes out, and then at some point, the industry undercuts Chicago. At some point, they have a wave, and then at some point, the industry undercuts Chicago in the music space. Same thing does happen with Houston, Texas, which is why somebody like Devin the Dude, or what you saw with even Trey the Truth, but we know Trey the Truth has spent a lot of his time in other markets in LA and Atlanta as well, you know. But when you see in situations like Houston, Texas, they'll have a wave, then something happens in the market. It's either they can't carry the wave, well, not can't carry the wave. What happened in the situation, the last run with Houston, all of the boys that was making Houston hot, they got into a fight with each other.
Well, and also people forget, this is very important. Why did that happen? Oh, a bunch of stupid niggas. You know, as white racists would say, not necessarily so. People forget when you talked about the beef even with T.I. And Lil Flip. That was instigated by the European power holders in the game. They saw Lil Flip in Houston market as a threat, and they instigated between that area and with T.I., and we saw what happened there. Now let's move forward. The insurance policy on Drake is very high. He's being fed and boosted for the slaughterhouse. And also, not just him, though. One of the things that was airy, though, the only thing that was really airy from the like that is when K-Dot said Prince lived Mike Jack.
Prince outlived Michael Jack. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Michael Jackson and Prince were allegedly murdered, and again, allegedly murdered by corporate hitmen, allegedly, because Prince was trying to he was in a long fight with Warner's for his music.
And then Michael Jackson was beefing with Sony. You know, we took with the ATP pubs.
Yeah, he was beefing with Sony.
Yeah.
So it's like when Kendrick Lamar said that, I'm like, wow, could be something where it comes to fruition. Yeah. Michael can get deleted now, but then Prince got deleted later by the same corporate hitman.
They said maybe we'll delete him later. Right?
Yeah,
that's exactly what they did. To keep it real with y'all about this. Now, even I'm glad you brought up the T.I. Flip situation. Okay, you have corporate espionage in hip hop like any other space as well. We saw that when Jimmy Iovine. They got their boys together with Double XL, and they literally just beefed up a magazine out of blue because the source was putting those tapes out there, the Moon Cricket tapes on Eminem, right? So they was putting that out there. And so what they did is that the corporations got together and withdrew ads from the Source magazine. It lost weight overnight. No Ruben Studdard, right? So if you know media is driven by ads. The same thing happens today. What happens when channels get demonetized, right? What happens, look at what Elon Musk has said, lies. Elon Musk says, fuck them when it comes to the ads. Please, I'm seeing more ads and spam on X/Twitter than I've ever seen in my life.
You seeing plumber ads?
Yeah, I can't even go into the comment section.
You got the Liver King, who's a con artist.
Yeah, Sham Wow commercials. You get what I'm saying?
He raised the subscription.
Yeah, lies.
He's doing everything but running the platform correctly.
That hairhead hooligan got more ads out there on that damn site than we've ever seen in life. Now, because if I see an interesting tweet, then I go into the comment section. It's 15 ads before I go to the comment that's relevant to the tweet. So here's the thing. So they pulled all them ads from the Source magazine. This is very important, you all. We're sitting now, we're just walking this down for you all. Yes, we love the MCing, we love the battling, but one thing I said, the energy is a little dark this time. If 2016 Drake and 2016 K-Dot got into it, I guarantee you all, it would have been exactly what people feel they think it is today. Unfortunately, we are under the assumption that psychologically these are the same men from that era. Everybody changes. Everybody changed at a point in time. Now, they pulled all those ads from the Source magazine. Source magazine was like starving. Then Double XL becomes the rap magazine, the source of the rap magazine, even to this day when they do the freshman class series now, right? And largely, a lot of the industry at the time got to control what they deemed, who they can deem as a hot artist. Remember, the first time for a lot of people is when they saw Megan Thee Stallion or DaBaby in even 21 Savage. The first time they saw some of these niggas was the freshman Double XL freestyle cypher. So that tells you how much the corporations, when they want to make something or someone hot, or an entity or property, fad, fashion, style, or even a form of ganghood hot in this commercialized media, they will do it.
I agree, Prince, with what you're saying. This is an important breakdown, what we both talk about. And Papa, yes, we do think that it could end up like Pac and Biggie, because Pac and Biggie wasn't really about Pac and Biggie. They were instigators, and towards the end, before Tupac died, he said he was going to piece it up with Biggie. You had Diddy, who was an instigator, who was tied to Clive. You had Jimmy Iovine talking to Suge Knight. Oh, Pac is dead. You're going to get a lot of money in sales. So you have a lot of people, and they're usually, again, when I talk about the Greek, the Jewish, the Italian label heads, they're always behind the scenes. Everybody always want to ignore them. They always behind the fucking scenes.
That is the point. Everybody does always want to. That's the bag that people don't want to talk about. Right?
Yeah, they always having their bets on who's gonna die, who they can collect.
Right.
A nigga get out of line. It's always easy to kill a black person in the United States. I mean, come on,
or at least set it up.
Birth of a Nation, Emmett Till. Saw what happened with Sam Cooke when he wanted to start his own label. You saw how people were only regulated to Motown, and Motown changed the game, but everybody stole
the pop formula from Motown.
Yeah, they stole the formula and platform from Motown, and then all these white label heads all took over the scene. They completely took over the music market, that black people created. So to be naive at this point, and to think that these people aren't once again behind the scenes saying which dead nigga is it gonna be Drake? Is it gonna be Future?
You out of your mind if you think that it only stopped in the 90s. Also, too, by the way, listen, shouts out to Joshua. I'll address some of you all's comments. I'm not going to address every one of them, but the ones that are of interest to me. The source under Benzino damaged its own credibility. You could argue the direction of where David Mays and Raymond Benzino may have taken the source, right? But when you find out that people that have way more power than Benzino or David Mays had made the decision to axe them ad revenue concerning that magazine over something about a white Detroit rapper, right? Having these quote-unquote racial tapes that were found.
Corporate backers, this is what Prince is talking about. Say that again. It's not about the beef between Benzino or Eminem. It's the fact another third party was able to come in and shut down the source instead of letting those guys figure out their issues with each other. Someone else came in and destroyed the Source magazine financially.
So you had dark hands in the room. No Charlemagne, right? So here's the other side of the game. So right now, just like you've seen, look what Michael Jackson talked about. He talked about the dark entities in the room, right? He told you all exactly. He said, hey, right down to the point of this is it. And we saw how raggedy the insurance policy claim was when they was trying to cash it out on Michael Jackson's head, let alone the fact that the man's brain was missing. That's another story, right? So look what happened with Prince, right? It's all this weird stuff. Here's the thing, you all. I disagree when people say, let me see, I think one of our boys is in the chat, Shoney. Shouts out to Shoney. He says, we instigated all of this. The culture of hip-hop, people want to hear MCs battle.
Right.
And people been wanting to hear since the Kendrick Lamar Control verse. They've been wanting to hear whether or not Drake, Wale, K-Dot, even Big Crit showed out with Mount Olympus. People in rap, we can't call ourselves stupid. We are a generation that grew up behind the blood or grew up in the blood of Tupac and Biggie. So this generation got good damn sense. They knew what they were smart enough to deduce that, this is an MC battle. We want to see who's going to be the best lyricist.
I agree with you 150%. This is not the fan base of the past that bit into West Coast versus East Coast. And some of them did want blood as an audience, and also was instigated by media. No, I would say 90% they just want innocent battle just to see who is on the throne of hip hop. Ain't no fucking way that average person is instigating this bloodshed. All you go look on X, there's little cute Drake Avatar fans and stands, little Kendrick Lamar stands. Oh, guys, and they're nerds, and they're like, so, you know, going back to the bars, and they are not interested in seeing any of these people die. Not at all. Not at all.
You think they're interested in seeing Tom Brady ran over by a truck?
No. You got
Come
people
on.
with 50 Cent Avatar, people are excited for that. No, I haven't seen that anybody in the fan base say they want one of these guys to die.
Now, but what you do have, that these people on these microphones that are backed by iHeartRadio and whatever, what they're not going to tell you is some of the stuff that we talk about on our Patreon, too, to keep it gangster with y'all. Look, the contract killers, right? The hits. You know, when Drake raps about, you know, oh, you know, there's prices on my head. Do you really believe that that nigga's all the way lying when he's seen as a valuable trophy somewhere? Same thing with the likes of Kendrick Lamar. Why did Kendrick Lamar had to take 5 years off? Like, let's put all of the Twitch streaming jokes aside, right? Why would a nigga like that, who has been on an incredible artistic run, why would he take 5 years off, right? Why did J. Cole, despite saying in many of his records, even liking himself to the God MC, you know, I was born on the same day as Rakim, right? Someone who's that proud to be born on a legendary MC's name and then also say I can out-rhyme any rapper, right? Why would he go public at the Dreamville Fest and say, hey, man, you can even get your shot off on me. You can hit me. I promise you I ain't going to say anything. J. Cole said, he said, and the people, the fans, everybody, they want blood. Well, why would he be comfortable looking that quote unquote stupid to the culture of hip hop? Well, maybe because maybe the nigga values something else outside of this. Because there's other elements in the room. Sauce Walker shows up, Drake, and whoever's promoting that on social media, because these people got teams. I mean, if you look at what's going on with Future and Metro and everybody clicking up and then all this other stuff going on, then okay, what do I got to do? I got to go stand next to quote unquote official niggas. It's the optics. This is why you hear stupid niggas on Clubhouse. Niggas that be, I told B-Mo, I heard one story. I saw one where the nigga was going back and forth with some of the niggas and he talking about, yeah, man, you know, how we banging in Baltimore. And then they find out the nigga from PG County.
That was funny.
I said, what are you doing?
Wait. Wack 100 said to the nigga though, because you know criminal niggas know niggas who faking. He was like, you're not from Baltimore. Wack 100 said, where you from?
Yeah, because he didn't say Baltimore, Maryland. He said Baltimore, and he said what he was saying. This is what I was saying about the man boy culture that is fascinated with the criminal class. And it's nothing. Look, humans have always been fascinated with criminals. We've had Al Capone, Lucky Luciano, Dust Shows, ladies and gentlemen, Bumpy Johnson, Madam Queen. Okay, all the way down to the rich Porter niggas.
Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump,
Jeffrey Epstein.
No Diddy. I mean, we've always been fascinated with criminals and the United States
George
of America.
Washington, Andrew Jackson, okay, Donald Trump,
Andrew Tate.
Bugatti, do the Bugatti.
The Bugattis, all of my Bugattis.
I got a headache right now, too. I'm trying not to laugh too hard. But anyway, okay, so this is the other side of it. So what we're saying here, look, y'all know us. We've always intrinsically covered the art side of the game. You know, we broke down To Pimp a Butterfly. Like I said, To Pimp a Butterfly it's going to age beautifully. Just like Big Steppers, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is going to age. Because I told you guys how people shitted on ATLians when Outkast dropped it. And it was like, man, look at these genie niggas. How they go from some Southern pimps and players and booty club, you know, stories to this genie shit, this Haji shit. And then now people look like, oh my God, Outkast discography is perfect. Right? Look. We always cover those things concerning the artists. We talked about MCs. We did live streams where we went through and broke down LL Cool J's discography. Kumo D, Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, Roxanne.
That's why I don't agree with what D1 said. D1 said y'all wasn't born during the 80s. Who gives a fuck? If I'm a comic book reader, I'm not gonna be like, oh fuck Superman because he came out in
Y'all wasn't born during
in
the
1930s. No, if you're a hip hop historian and nerd, you're gonna love the 80s when people was able to battle with no bloodshed. You know what I'm saying? So like people who sometimes feel like, oh, we're gonna get that again, and then we realize we're not, they're gonna be disappointed. But getting back to the main point that we're saying here and what you're talking about, it's not about picking sides and this beef. Remember, people chose sides between Tupac and Biggie, and what came about it. And also there's another element here is also people who aren't selling, who used to sell, are now getting caught up with cases. J-Lo came out with an album, nobody listened to it, it was bummy, it failed. Now she getting caught up in the club scene of what took place.
Still Jenny with the Glock.
Right, with Diddy. Diddy couldn't sell, he couldn't get no big name. Diddy wish he could have gotten a Drake or a Kendrick or a ASAP. Someone to get to have his dead weight.
Another 15-year life.
It would insurance, right? It would have extended Diddy's life. You want to know why Diddy's getting caught up in all this?
He ain't producing nothing.
He hasn't produced shit in a long time.
We want y'all to understand that there ain't no value in that nigga other than them alleged tapes, other than who he could allegedly possibly snitch and tell on.
There you go.
That's what it is. If you ain't worth nothing, remember what they say about show business. Baby, it ain't what you did, it's what have you done lately.
What have you done for me lately? Boom, dum, 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 dum. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's about money. That's what it's about. That's what it's always about. It's always been about that with this game. And folks, I'm telling you something right now. What you're witnessing, and I agree with, let's see, who else? Somebody brought up Joshua, when he was talking about the money and the art and this. That's capitalism. That is the Jackson Pollock shit, that Basquiat shit, all of that shit that got talked about in that era where the artists were working themselves to death. When they the last time the traditional artists the fine artists were rock stars. That was the last time.
And people forget politics have always been involved in art. If you go look at even when people talk about Frank Sinatra, he was connected to the mafia.
Yeah.
He was a part of the mafia.
Yeah, so
you know, even if you go back to even the great classical musicians. Some of them had got caught up in with royalty.
Look at Joseph Ballone.
Some of them got thrown in prison because the revolutionaries thought that they were part of the elite class, and some of them survived. But it's this dramatic doom and gloom part, the other part of the glam, the other side to the glam part of art, is this part has always been looming there.
Well, I'll say this too. Look, I'm just going to like we like some of the people used to bring up Joseph Ballone. He got busy. He did wars. Couldn't nobody. He's the one that they mislabeled as the Black Mozart. He was before Mozart. Mozart actually was looking up to him, but he also was jealous of him too, and he was a hater too. Because in one of his plays, he created this ugly black creature that was supposed to be mocking Joseph Ballone. But that's a whole nother story. But shit, if somebody got busy, they got out of line with old boy. He get up off that piano and bitch, meet me outside.
Look what they did with Michael Angelo and them.
Yes.
When they say the great painters. People forget that they got bullied by the Crown.
Yeah.
They said, you're going to do these type of paintings. This is going to be propaganda for the people of their time.
It's going to take you 15 years.
And they did it. And you know what? I mean, they didn't want to get executed. They didn't want. You know what I'm saying?
You'll cut your hands off.
Right. They didn't want to get executed.
Can you just take my paintbrushes?
They didn't want to step out of line with the elite class. They didn't want to lose their life. So a lot of them, even
all of this stuff.
Even when they talk about the 48 laws of power, you had where people who were of the artistic class or scientific class who knew more than the elites, if an elite said, that painting is almost there. Can you slightly change the nose?
Yes, sir.
And they would have to pretend to change the nose. Some of them didn't do it.
Just to appease their Julius Caesar ego.
Right? And they say, here, look at it. Oh, the painting is magnificent now. Oh, yeah.
Get this crackhead out of here. Did you see that? I didn't even touch that shit. I pretended. Fuck that nigga.
So going back into this, it's gotten worse.
Okay,
because
so-
now you don't just have royalty and politicians. You got the mafiosos and gangs involved.
And you got these weird, dark rituals in the industry. Do not forget about the occultists. They are the ones that are on demon time.
Yeah, because it's transit. People ain't thinking right. This is a violent transit that we have right now. But go ahead, Prince.
They're on thinking time. First of all, there's so much. You guys gotta understand this. There's so much nigga sultry right now to get out of this. There's the money that's gonna come out of it. There's gonna be the talking point, all this other stuff. For Drake, Kendrick, Future, J. Cole, Rihanna, ASAP. There's so many, and God knows who else is going to be in this. Oh yeah, The Weeknd, right? Folks, Interscope, Universal Records is the label in itself is still the largest, if not one of the largest labels on this damn planet. Baby, money got to be made. They are cutting jobs right now, folks. They're cutting jobs. The music industry is in a deficit. You mean to tell me just magically materialization, all of this is taking place? I'm not just saying in the notion that, you know what, Kendrick and Drake, y'all go ahead and get y'all Jay-Z, Nas on. We're not even talking about. It's all this other added shit that's triggered in the algorithm as well, because we have AI, we have algorithm farms. We saw that with what's our brother Michael K. Williams, right? Before he died, right? He was talking to some ski mask, poo shiesty face algorithm farmers, and they were talking about how they work for the big streaming companies, and their job is to blow these artists' sales up for the companies to make as much money as possible, just in general, or at least it makes their presence appear larger. Remember, Snoop Dogg came out not too long ago. He said he had something multiple millions of streams. He said he was talking to the guy. He said, okay, so tell me, like, how much money is that? They told him it was $45,000. So that tells you, even with the algorithm farms and the streaming farms that they got, they not making money. Listen, on average, what you've seen when Pop Smoke died, when Nipsey died, when Nipsey Hussle died, that man had been rapping for 10 years. That man died, his album and streaming sales went up 400%. When Pop Smoke died, streaming sales went up, and his the residual intake of what they were making off of him went up 400%. Juice WRLD, it went up 400% as well.
XXXTentacion, it went up.
Same thing, 400%. He was another one. You know, so this is what we're saying in this regard. Yes, we sitting there, we always going to break down what we see, and we do talk about art, but I'm going to be honest with you, you know, because Sincere Ignorance alluded to this early in the previous stream. Look, folks, they kind of made it a little harder to really enjoy just MCing, and it made it actually harder for these rappers just to MC. Drake got to go on all of this meltdown shit. I've been with the Wathas and it's not about bars anymore. That's why I do believe the creative intelligence of the general public is very high, because when Cole bowed out for unforeseeable reasons that we'll find out later, but when he bowed out, all of the air got sucked out, because they knew at 100% he was the brontosaurus, the baby brontosaurus from a land before time. And they thought they was purely just going to get bars. But all of this other elements in the room, ladies and gentlemen, you clearly see the B-roll on the screen. We're going to go ahead and go to another point. Sin, if you want to, make a statement too. By
yeah, because Prince is going to read Bootsy's statement in a moment. But yeah, that's all we're saying is, like, we know, okay, we can't stop wherever these guys are going to do. You know, I mean, hopefully they listen and pay attention, because harming each other at the end of the day, it don't result to anything. I mean, it just really doesn't. Look at what the stuff that Diddy did to everybody in the industry. He tried to bully Kendrick, tried to bully Cole, tried to bully Drake. You know, he allegedly was a part of Pac and Biggie getting killed. Alleged parties where he has tapes out on all his friends, from directors, people in tech, people in music, actors, right? All these things. Only to lead to him eventually, or possibly ended up in handcuffs, being put in prison. And even if he doesn't go to prison, his entire empire financially has been drained. So at the end of the day, I can ask y'all in the chat, was it worth it? Was it worth it for him to go into this instead of making peace? Was it all worth it? It wasn't worth it at the end of the day, because the same people who are instigators and the same people who put Diddy in that position to do all these alleged things are the same people who are collecting the check when it's all over with. You get what I'm saying? You know, so it is very important to at least keep that in the back of your mind. What is it all for?
Yeah. So also the other side of the game, and look, we just putting this out there because look, I'm gonna keep it real with you all. There are no positive conclusions to the energy that's out there right now. It's cool. We reviewed We Don't Trust You. I thought it was a knocking album. I thought the second one, sitting there, we felt the second one also was a knocking album.
Yeah, both were great albums.
Both were really good. You can't take away, the efforts of like Drake when he did. If you're reading, my personal favorite Drake album is If You're Reading This It's Too Late. And then I think Nothing Was the Same second. I think Sin, she says the same sentiments.
Yeah.
I think she liked Take Care a little more than I did.
I like Take Care all the way to Darko Lane.
Right.
I'm not a fan of some of the stuff he's doing right now, but even to add to what you're saying, I think if Drake does drop at 12 a.m. or anything tonight, I think the diss record is going to be hot. I think Kendrick's response is going to be hot. See, for us, if it was only that, it would just be great. And of course, we're going to still cover the diss records, of course, but just putting out there, like, just leave it to hip hop. Like, don't do the whole, like, I get it. ASAP Rocky talk about fuck hip hop. I want to see a fuck nigga bleed. I understand from his perspective why he would feel that way with the threats.
Tired of that boy talking about his woman.
With the threats, on for my dogs.
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like y'all all have families. Future has kids. Drake has a son. ASAP has kids. Cole has kids. Most of the people in here have kids.
Cole got a new bike. He said, nigga, fuck this shit. I mean, I thought y'all was slapboxing. I didn't think y'all was really getting down in the dirt like this.
Most of these people got families.
Now, some of the people, they said, okay, great question, DeQuasha G. She says here, DeQuasha! She says, do you all think that hip-hop has gotten less competitive because people are still in a PTSD mode for what happened to Biggie and Tupac? Yeah. I think that's one part of it. But also, I do feel that the gangster element has infected everything.
Yes, even commentary.
Yeah, the question, to be honest with you, because even after Tupac and Biggie took place, people we still got safely a Nas and Jay-Z situation where we got to talk about hip-hop again. People got a chance to talk about hip-hop again. I think at this stage and age, I'm going to be honest with you, the whole crime and the niggas with the flags, without the flags, they are everywhere like roaches. They are the cops. They are the biggest police. They police niggas how they talk.
You can't make humor. You can't joke about these famous people, whatever. People forget whether Janet Jackson got positive reviews on her album or not, because it wasn't until Velvet Rope that all the critics just said, my God, this is a classic album. Janet, period, they were hating a little bit, but it didn't matter because the positive and negative attention added to Janet Jackson's sales. Even some of these guys in hip-hop, they don't comprehend this. You crying about what the needle drop says about your shit. You're crying about what this one says or Sean or this person or start crying. All these things actually give you traffic and adds to the culture. But when you got goons telling people to shut up, your albums don't sell as much. It dries up the culture. It becomes fucking boring.
Hey,
and then white people gonna put white people gonna take over the genres that black people created. And then y'all gonna be fucking crying when Sarah and Jack is taking over different musical genres and they're selling, and then the little white people commentators be on there and they could talk freely without the same bullshit.
What they doing it now on TikTok? A lot of them white kids look at this. Let me give y'all an example. I don't care. Look, if you enjoy hip hop, you enjoy hip hop. But look at what happened. This is, to DeQuasha's question. Yes, Biggie and Tupac happened, but Nas and Jay-Z got to happen, and it was good for hip-hop. You know, people got a chance to see two high-ranking artists, you know, who's the better one, right? It was a sound clash, like Jamaican dance halls, right? But when you listen to the criminal elements, even some of the niggas, and, you know, shouts out to them, some of the niggas are my cousins and shit, but some of the niggas, it's prison nigga technology, okay? It's prison nigga technology because when you function on a low IQ level, when you just keep everything the streets, and you function on a low IQ level, you don't get nothing, you don't understand nothing, but you take your ass to the internet where it's an open source of free opinions, trolling, disrespect, comments. These things trigger people. I've been on Clubhouse. Sin and I, we've been on Clubhouse. We've listened. We've been in conversation. People, they lure you into this illusion that this conversation is just gonna be on hip hop. All right, people start talking about hip hop. Here come a random street nigga. Hey, man, watch what you saying. The same shit, whether you like him or not. I'm just using this as an example. The same shit that took place with the likes of academics. Although academics elected to go cover exclusively drill street politics. So I kind of felt there was a mirroring effect there.
Yeah,
but there were other
individuals.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but there were other individuals, right? Because even with the academics thing, I'll just say this to finish this point here, and I'm going to let Sin say what she got to say. There were people that were looking at academics. They said, who is this Jamaican immigrant nigga that got here at 21 years old? Hey, man, I'm from the streets, bro. I start their own YouTube channel myself, and I'll talk about my experience. And then a lot of them have started it. A lot of them on Clubhouse. A lot of them don't want to edit no fucking video. They don't want to edit no lower third. They don't want to do that shit. They'll just go on the Clubhouse, go on Twitter, and hopefully they get monetized, right? But nonetheless, though, what happens in that space, just like when academics and other people that was mirroring him, it wasn't just him. He was just the one that worked so hard that he outworked a lot of them people that was doing the same thing.
And he was the one who really started it, with bringing that deaf culture into commentary, because he wasn't really focused at first on the music. He was focused on who killed who.
Well, and there was a lot of that, too. I'm making a clear point here because this is what happened on the other side. The street niggas that started off covering the drill shit, then now they want to come in and try to jam people's opinion up about hip hop. When people say, you know, this album, you know, I didn't think it was that really good. Hey, man, watch your mouth. The fuck you mean watch my mouth, nigga? Right? So to DeQuasha's question point, it's the criminal hood that's fucked up this shit. It's the crime hood that fucked up this shit.
And that goes to the very top, too.
All the way to the top.
The Greek billionaire.
There you go.
That was dissing Chief Keef.
He said, we're going to sit him down. We know to you black folks, and we know to you white folks, that this dark-skinned boy from Chicago that got this shag over his head, and you don't know what he's saying when he's talking in interviews, we know for you all, he an alpha killer nigga. But I run this nigga, so we're sitting him down because we want to flex our power, too. Like I said, America loves crime. America was born in crime, ladies and gentlemen. America was born out of crime. Okay? The Irish ran around so much so until they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to become the police unions. The Italians did the same thing. The Jewish people did. It was Jewish mafia, right? The Mexican mafia. They all do it. America is a consortium network of crimes, masking as civility. So what's happening to the rap listener, I can't blame them for getting tricked. They think this is a civil sport of sparring, not knowing that under the mask of civility lies criminal hood. You hear it all the time on Clubhouse.
I mean, this is why Drake had it in his song on the Scorpion album. I don't know how I'm going to make it out of here clean. Mm-hmm. You know, where he talked about he don't even know who played for the other team. That, you know, or even when you go listen to Future, he talks about All My Life, what he had to deal with. You know, they know a lot, but they also still caught in the cog. Yeah. They're still caught up in it.
What's the beautiful thing about fame and money? That's the drug right there. See, they all drug addicts. Fame and money. That's what really gets your ass. You know, we saw Look, Bobby Shmurda is so happy now that he can freely twerk. He can do whatever he want to do, right? But when they had Bobby Shmurda in that video dancing on that table, and he was talking about, you know, he hopping over the car like Tom Cruise to kill another black nigga, right? And they like, oh, this is, ooh. That's what you saw them white folks, they were rocking. Oh, this nigga's going to be mini 50 Cent, right? He was so real that him and the rowdy nigga, you saw what happened, right? Same thing with the Millie rocking niggas. But again, what we're saying is this is what's presented in front of you. People are saying Bootsy Badass should be the last person to speak based on his alleged history. That makes that nigga the perfect one to deliver this message. If he's telling you what this is, ladies and gentlemen, that should tell you the conversations that are already happening behind the scenes. Bootsy says here, everybody gassing up rap beef, shaking my head, all excited saying this hip hop. Again, what did I say? Masking the criminal element with the air of civility. He said, everyone gassing up rap beef, shaking my head, all exciting saying this is hip hop. Well, everyone in the crew not going to see it that way, right? And he says, and when it pops off, it really goes down. What does that mean? Now,
and why can't y'all keep y'all goons in check so it could just stay hip hop? Rakim had goons, but he still battled. I mean, like, even the goon part is starting to get very outrageous. The fact that y'all can't keep y'all guys in check. Like, even that guy who tried to go up to a rap artist to get an autograph, and one of the goon members knocked him out unconscious. And the artist had to go clean that up with the parents of that young man and all that other stuff.
Right.
Like, why can't y'all keep y'all goons in check?
Well, and the other side is this too. Even when you bring up Rakim, which is a great point. Remember, Rakim told you he came out of crime. I used to be a stick-up kid. Now, here's the other side of it. That crime is different. These aren't these people's goons and their crews. These are their extortioners.
Some of them, that's true. Some of them are.
We got to keep it real. We talk about the epi shit. Why do you think Diddy was able to be, quote unquote, allegedly the last black gangster out of Harlem? Man, you know, they got you, man. My bad. Sorry about that. You know, there's a tape, man. You know, I just need you to, if you could just sign this over, you know, because of that. With that little.
Most of these artists do get extorted.
And think about if you don't have quote unquote backers, which is another double entendre word, right? It's a double speak word for extortioners, right? If you don't have extortioners, right, you paying people off, like you got a touchdown in Chicago, got a touchdown in Atlanta, I got a touchdown in Brooklyn, got a touchdown in Compton, I got a touchdown in Houston, and these people are being excessively taxed, but they got to look the part now. I got to stand in a video with 500 dusty niggas with scratchy faces, right? Because my brand is supposed to look real as the realest nigga in the game. Right?
You know, I actually agree. I just feel like one of the things that would have helped these guys if they actually gone to proper muscle. You know, if
50 Cent did.
Yeah, like
hire Navy SEALs, retired Navy SEALs.
Hire Navy SEALs. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hire people who are disciplined. You can't hire your own op.
You know what?
And if you don't pay me, bitch, it's tape coming out. We gonna kill you. We gonna whoop your own ass.
You mean they're gonna Isaiah Rashad you?
Yeah, you know.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, some of y'all have to get wiser now, you know, and have proper backup. You know, you can't have. What's the point? How is it really protection if you do something or say something they disagree with, but it's not harmful to them? They'll set you up. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
That's what type of protection is that?
That's because, remember, we talk about looking the part. See, you hiring 4 former Navy SEALs to escort you and your beautiful family across the United States and possibly going over into other countries, right? For the dumbed down remedial rap nigga culture and cracker culture, because let's stop it. When we say nigga, the crackers over there too, because they love that shit, right? Some of them are online right now, not being threatened by goons in the chat too, by the way. All right, hold on, here they go.
Hey guys, everybody, welcome to my channel. You can like and subscribe. All right, let's talk about Young Honcho 47 out of Chicago, and we're going to talk about how he offed everybody in the rap game and put his goons out there.
It's like Diddy goons. He was only attacking black people on TikTok, us, and
Yeah.
Tessa tells and like, come on now.
But these little baby crackers get to talk about, they get to do all of the snitching y'all accuse 50 Cent of doing in Ghetto Quran. They get to have whole YouTube channels with 2 million subscribers and followers, right? They get to do all of these things, and none of the self-hating niggas are attacking them from the streets. None of them are. Look at what's the boy? The trap lord nigga. The trap lord nigga. He gets to talk as foul and as greasy about these old ghetto criminal hood black niggas. Talk about they make fun of them. You ain't nobody threaten them. Nobody put a contract. Nobody did a Zach TV on them. Nobody did it. Not that I'm warranting that, but sending out what we're educated. We're just telling you all what has been allowed in the culture.
But it is warranted.
You get what I'm saying?
If you're gonna be gun clapping your own fucking people like morons, at least be about it across the board.
Well, that's where the self-hate comes in at. They know not to touch the Caitlins. They know that. Now, they know to be like the baby, punch a black woman right in her mouth, dead in her mouth on camera, and then tell us with his old shark wide ass mouth, I didn't hit that woman. Again, you had to factor in all of this.
I agree with that.
You had to factor all of this in. So this is where we're coming from on this side of the game with it. People are mad at what Bootsy said. Look, whether you feel the man got bodies or not, from living in the Third Coast, I've always heard stories about Bootsy, Baby, and Master P. That's just what it was growing up in the South. We've heard stories, right? However, though, he is the perfect dark minister. He's the dark preacher in the room for this message here. That means the streets are already talking, ladies and gentlemen. They're already talking. But again, what has been sanctioned by non-black owned Fortune 500 corporations? This has been sanctioned.
When your master is white, you're not going to dare touch white flesh. You're going to beat up on other black people. And I'm not saying that, there can't be black individuals that don't have to like each other and all that. And most demographics kill each other. White on white crime is high. They try to hide it. It happens every day. But this isn't just the only important factor that's a little bit different for our community is the fact that those white guys that do that academics content, they don't have to worry about anything ever happening to them. Academics.
Didn't he have somebody touch down in his home allegedly?
You told me about it before it happened.
Oh, yeah, well,
But we just didn't say it on air, and it happened exactly to the T.
Yeah. So,
the only difference is he actually survived. But he hasn't learned his lesson because, he's still around the same energy that did it the first time.
I mean, listen, just saying. We'll just keep telling you what it is. All right? Look, I mean, listen. let me get my Barack Obama on. No, look. At the end of the day, folks, look, I think what has been sanctioned, because, folks, there's some sanctioning here. Why is everybody so angry right now? Why are all of these people charging this energy up? To Bootsy's point is what we're talking about here. There is deception in the room, ladies and gentlemen. There's a Game of Thrones deception in the room. It's being masked as hip hop. Ladies and gentlemen, hip hop died when Tupac said to all you rap niggas getting killed with your mouths open. This ain't no freestyle battle.
To your point, people can remove Drake. It ain't going to stop that them same entities going to try to come after Kendrick and Future and Metro. And people could try to harm Metro and The Weeknd and all that. Drake can feel however he feels towards them. But it isn't going to stop those people, them higher ups, from trying to collect on his insurance as well.
Exactly.
So you get what I'm saying? So it's just like it's
Look,
if you leave it on hip hop, y'all make money. And just go y'all separate ways. But if y'all go to death.
Right. So, look, I know some people, look, this is going to be one of those times in the moment where people are going to be like, you know what, Thought Crimes, I'm not having fun. You guys are not making this fun. We've had those moments after everything goes down. Then people come back around and then they like, okay, we understand what you guys were talking about. We're just saying we hold microphones here. Sin and I, this is what we do for a living. We hold microphones here. So we're putting out the responsibility aspect side of the game. We have fun. We talk about MCing. We talk about bars. I was sitting there, all three of us was on the phone debating in New York about punchline theory and Fabulous and all this other stuff. But we do have to show the responsible side of the game that, you know, Vibe didn't get a chance to turn around before the East Coast, West Coast thing happened. And I will say that there is a grand deception in the room, to be fair to the listeners. Even up until Tupac and Biggie, when they start seeing all of the Bloods and the Crips infect hip-hop, they said, well, something's different here. But when they heard the battle and the beef, they didn't see it coming because that's not how it was marketed. Remember, Vibe and the rest of those people marketed it as this is hip-hop. Same thing now. Oh, this is just hip-hop. Look what Charlamagne is saying on The Breakfast Club. Shawty, how you going to say on one breath with Jesus from North Carolina, right? How you going to say, well, you know, I'm going to give everybody donkey of the day because, you know, you guys, his spirit ain't right. This, that, and third. But then there's other elements in the room tied to this boy Drake, tied to this boy Kendrick, tied to these boys.
Instigate between Drake and Kendrick.
Oh, little short demonic nigga,
right.
Just sitting there smiling. I was like, well, what type of bullshit is this?
Charlamagne loves Black Death, but I mean, what was the surprise when he allegedly, you know, gave? Well, he did give alcohol to a 15-year-old girl, and then he allegedly sexually assaulted her. And this part is not alleged. He did watch R. Kelly tapes and said he enjoyed, you know, what R. Kelly did, and you know, he was able to learn how to. I don't want to say it. What he said was very nasty about peeing and all this other stuff. But to get back to the major point,
right?
If you leave it on hip hop, you all win, and whoever's the best of the best, you know, will sit on that lyrical throne. But you know, and also musically, like you said, we give everybody ideas. Like we were the first ones talking about, you know, Drake should do an EP with Scary Hours, another edition where he comes and, you know, say how he feels and come with his diss records. You know, Night Night already talked about Kendrick Lamar. He already has his shit set up with The Heart, Part 6. But I would say Kendrick should also drop an EP with Metro because I feel they, you know, like that showed that they have really great chemistry. But you know, we like to really focus on the music when it comes to this, but you know, there's other hidden factors behind the scenes. As for people saying, well, why haven't people showed up in the past? Because y'all industry niggas don't care about each other. Y'all knew about Nipsey. The assassination was coming. Y'all didn't stop it. Y'all had, you know, and from the energy of things we've been told and what we've seen with Pop Smoke and stuff, most of the industry knows when something's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but most of them know because their white zaddies tell them.
Yeah.
And they just let it happen.
Because they don't have no power anyway. They don't have no real power. Them niggas don't got no power. Not like that, right?
That's because they choose not to.
Shouts out to Strategy King. You right, Sid. Shouts out to Strategy King. He says, let me see here. Let me go to, because this is, ladies and gentlemen, give it up Strategy King too. He does work with Kanye West, so send him your demos. Strategy King says here, Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, Selena Gomez, and Hailey Bieber stop with the only hip-hop having beef. Spare me. Where the difference is that those ladies have tiffs.
Sorry.
Beefs are, the word beef is not put in any other quote unquote genre / culture other than hip hop because we've had that.
Stop it. People get killed over here. None of them bitches got killed.
If
Taylor Swift, stop.
If Selena Gomez's plane had crashed down, you ain't gonna hear Swift come out smoking on a Gomez pack.
Yeah, stop it. Stop it, Strategy King. You know you're being.
We know you're a Christian, but I get it. But you're incorrect.
You know you're reaching there. And until one of them bitches get clapped by the other, it's not nowhere near the same thing.
Now, here's the other side of the game. He says here, he goes, well, basically, I think he was stating, Blackface Drake will lose going against Weeknd. I have zero sympathy for Blackface Drake. You know what's beautiful about that statement too, Strategy King, and I'll tell you, here's the other side of it. Let me just put y'all in it. We're gonna have y'all step into our world, right? So let's say something does take place with Drake. Let's say something happens. They get him up out of here, and some folks are like, yes, they got him. Got that nigga. Right? ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before, the removal of Julius Caesar, I'm not saying it's the exact same energy, but I'm just talking about the consequences of removing said entity that people deemed as an annoying power hub. A civil war happened.
Things got worse. Like, what are you talking? And also, Drake losing to The Weeknd is fine. I think people, if they want to pick their camps, that's perfectly fine.
They can do that.
Losing is one thing. Bloodshed and people killing each other and deleting each other, that's the thing that is the issue. If this was just about wins and losses, yeah, there's always had to be a winner and there always has to be a loser. That's perfectly fine.
There you go. There's Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. You know what time it is. So, look, here's the thing.
We also talked about that, too, that Drake is not innocent. We know he been talking gun talk, too.
Well, look, also, too, you can't be out here just laying your pipe in every man's woman. You heard what even Lil Wayne said, like, he was crushed. He's like, man, you slept with my girl. He wrote it in his memoir, right? Or his ghostwriter did. But, they put it in a memoir. The writer put it in a memoir. And he said how crushed he was. But that has been a reoccurring story arc of Drake. DJ Drama, that's how we got the leaked tapes with the reference tracks to Funkmaster Flex, right? And, with The Weeknd, when he didn't sign with Drake wanted to sign him. He went to go sign with the XO, start his own thing. And then Drake started rapping about having Habib on the walls and being with The Weeknd. So you do these things, absolutely people going to come for your head. But this will be the first time that, someone could be seen as people consider a nerd, a dork. They don't feel he's all the way alpha. They don't feel he's alpha at all. But look who he's tied to. That's where Thought Crimes is talking. I don't care about Future leaning off, nodding off in the video, slobbing on himself in the interview, or Drake making weird SNL What Is Love sex faces in the camera, or Kendrick walking around with a Pinocchio puppet. Like, all of these artists niggas are weird somewhere. But what we're talking about,
all artists are weird.
Yeah,
I mean, some people consider us weird. I mean, that comes with the territory of being an artist.
They think we're weird because they said, nah, Thought Crimes, y'all need to turn up on this battle. Not really, nigga. There's some other shit in the room. Okay, there's some other presence in the room, okay? Again, if it was 2016, 2015, that would have been a different story. But now you have other things. In fact, the flip side is this. The same elements prevented Kendrick and Drake from getting into it. Remember?
Yeah, when Drake and Kendrick could have gotten to it where it would only have been MCing, you had everybody tell them, no, think about only the money. It would have been great for hip-hop. It's like, I'm not listening to a lot of these niggas because most of the time y'all be wrong. Y'all just be wrong most of the time. And also, we were told that people wanted Drake to fuck up out of here a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And that it could also possibly get dangerous. So, it is what it is. Industry games, collecting on insurance. When Drake this record drop, we will be talking about it. When Kendrick responds with his stuff in the Heart Part 6, we will be talking about that, and so on and so forth.
But we had to put y'all on some real game for this one, and we had to keep it real. I'm gonna be honest with you all, we're not making up no shit. You can check our track history. We talked about several times The Last Dance. We said the Great Betrayal was coming for Drake. Here we are, and again, there's other elements in the room. So, we wouldn't be doing our proper jobs if we didn't cover the entire situation and the possibilities right now. People's teams are lining up because when these diss records are set to drop, they're ready to put themselves in position to arm themselves against the consequences too. Because, look, people are going to get emotional. That's my guy. Look, shit, we was on Clubhouse and a nigga from Kendrick's camp was cutting up. Okay, that's my guy. You didn't seen that. You can be somewhere else and people in the comment section, they'll call in. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Watch your mouth. Them niggas, right? Go do that to Trap Lore. All right. So, Sin, did you have any?
No, I agree with that. Don't come in here trying to tell us what to do with our platform. We're not the ones trying to make money off of y'all dead bodies. And don't be one-sided. If you're going to talk that tough shit, go on and do that to white society that be making money off of y'all niggas all the fucking time. Making money off of y'all whether y'all win, and making money off of whether y'all lose.
See, that sounded like a East Coast bar. Was you going to say wins and losses, no Meek?
Wins and losses, no Meek.
No Michael Rubin?
You know, you see Meek holding his ass out, getting into it with Wale because his boyfriend was taking pictures with Wale, you know? Really tired of this shit, you know, and tired of people. They always want to try to bully or bark down on black platforms, but too scared to tell these white people to fuck off who going to be collecting on their insurance policy when they fucking die.
Yeah, there's another side too, by the way. We're just going to put this out there. Look, there are a lot of MCs that are curious as to why they would like to know why J. Cole apologized. Now, there's one guy, chat, what is his name? He was formerly with Math Hoffa. He just had a little moment podcast with Quilly from Meek Mill. And, you know, they were talking about when J. Cole apologized. And then one of the guys, he says, well, you know, you got to understand, like, the West Coast politics are different. He's like, you know, I'm not saying Kendrick is doing anything, but people acting on the behalf of the presumption or just the fact that I don't want you throwing stones at any nigga on our land or our turf over here. And he said things are just different. That's to DeQuasha's question up there when she said, you know, are people having PTSD? Yes, they are having that because it ain't just rap. It ain't just rapping. I wish people would stop trying to act like that. I think what Bootsy said is already a red errand of what there's already being talked about behind the scenes. This has been going on for a while.
One last thing. That needs to talk about Kendrick Lamar having a gun basically behind his parents on the front cover. Kendrick Lamar 5th album, Mr. Morale. Yeah, Lamar sees that what's going on in this war in the industry. Yeah, you know, I think... like I said before, I gave Kendrick Lamar a lot of respect for the fact that he's official and he has always shown restraint with that power. You know, we never heard about any type of, beef since he's been in the industry that have led to somebody's demise or anything like that. So I always give Kendrick Lamar that credit. And I actually, from the outside looking in, it seemed like Kendrick is a good guy. I don't know him personally, so I can't verify that.
You're just saying that his behaviors are publicly. It seems more respectable publicly.
Yeah,
more respectable because I don't know any of these guys. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we already knew Cole was just a bohemian hoe.
He said it himself.
He confirmed it on Red Leather.
He talking about how I'm trying to get Ruby Rose. He said that on the verse. I'm trying to say I could click over, you know. Drake is going to be a very interesting story arc at the end of everything. I think this is all a science project, especially when I look at somebody like Drake. You know, what is it to have someone to come from upper middle class Toronto, has a chance to get into the music industry through hip hop and rap music, but also, you know, the father and the uncle being a part of it, specifically the uncle with Graham Station, and you know, so he's got some music lineage in the industry just in general, but he's also was on a successful show, Degrassi, and he's a child actor, and then where we are today with the gun talk, the smoking on the dead pack talks, and how dark the energy has gone. And again, the reason why I would track it that way, that means you have to ask yourself, though, is it, you know, that space is so volatile. Like, what is it that niggas feel they need to do to just exist? You know, why do I feel like I got to talk about how many bodies I got or I got shooters? That's a favorite thing niggas do. I got shooters. My shooters, my shooters, my shooters.
Some of them got to worry about their shooters shooting them.
There you go.
That's the problem.
That nigga ain't your friend.
That nigga ain't your friend. How many y'all, a lot of people, look at what happened with Nipsey.
Yeah.
Now, that guy wasn't his current shooter or a part of him, you know.
But they had a relationship.
Yeah, there were stories about, you know, him kicking that dude out because he said that dude was messing with kids who were funny. But you saw what happened.
Yeah. Why would you listen? And again, this is where the fantasy denotes the reality. Realistically, I fuck with Nipsey shit. But listen, when that shit went down with Shitty, cuz, like, I mean, why would a nigga need to have somebody around like that? right? But that's the point of like in the situation with Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, he had hitters and movers, and they all turned on him at the most opportune time.
He kicked that guy to the curb for valid reasons, but someone lured him out there in that trap. And but we already have the stream where we talked about it. Where
we talked about all that.
Someone told us a famous Crip we didn't know it was going to be Nipsey was going to get deleted, and it happened. But the industry people know.
So we said, how many times we said about this shit? Every time we say, look, there's a great betrayal that's about to happen with Drake. It's shit play. Story of Adi died. We came back again, did the posting, went up there, and all this shit takes off again. Folks, like these things are laid out. These things are laid out. People that need to make money off the podcast, they're gonna act like I have inside information. They know what's going on. People that are egging this stuff on, they know what's going on.
And that's true. Nobody, of course, in there innocent. I mean, even if you start out innocent in that industry, they're going to make you dirty somewhere. So nobody in that industry is clean.
Yeah, they're going to come up to you. So, man, what you want to do? She's pregnant, and she talking about she don't want to get rid of the baby.
One thing I do agree with Strategy King, yes, we know that he was dissing on for my dogs and her loss and all that. So Drake said he's ready for all of this.
Well, he's getting it.
So he's getting what he put out there. But at the same time, too, I don't know none of these people. They all have their perspective. Drake's perspective is, y'all niggas never liked me. ASAP perspective is, I was cool with you until you started crying because I'm with Rihanna. Future perspective is, Drake, you always been a little bit shiesty towards me. And we don't trust you. Metro seemingly is, I never liked you. Everybody has their perspective, but the people who are only in their camps know who is more on the right or who is more on the wrong, or if any of them is even right.
Well, they know
how the fuck they try to make people, everyday people, pick sides to a fucking story. We don't even know what the fuck is going on.
Listen, you all, and I'm gonna tell you something about you commentators. Look, even what I saw with the whole academics and him making fun of Metro's dead mother. I said academics has no idea. I'm from Atlanta. I know how it works.
That was not a smart move.
I said just because you see a nigga with glasses on and he punching on a damn NPC, that don't mean nothing when you get out there and talking like that about people's dead mamas. Because we didn't see that. We didn't see people in rap music get smoked for less.
No, that's true. And
so that's what I said about all of this. That's why I said there's another element in the room when people are asking. But go ahead.
No, and it's groupie shit though.
Yeah, it is.
No, I mean academics may know something personal with Drake. They talk on the phone, right? But it is groupie shit to try to say automatically who's right and who's wrong unless you're a part of the actual camp. You get what I'm saying? Like you actually know these people. The Weeknd perspective is like I'm happy I never signed to Drake because he tried to take credit for my work. Yeah. I'm not in any of these people camps to verify 100% what is right and what is wrong. Now with Diddy stuff and with Jeffrey Epstein, there are a lot of things we have been able to verify. When it comes to when we talked about some of these predators in the game, like R. Kelly, for example, there was a lot of things that we were able to verify. This Telemundo beef, this Shakespearean beef with all these guys is based off of so many different people's perspectives and angles that we know about all the perspectives out there. We know where ASAP is coming from, where Future is coming from, where Metro is coming from, where Drake is coming from, where The Weeknd is coming from, and so on and so forth. But again, not in the camps to be able to verify 100% who really, was doing the most damage and who, whose side to take and all this other stuff,
Yeah, and I just want to put that up out there to let y'all know. At the end of the day, money is to be made. Most of these guys have generated billions of dollars for corporations in an industry, in that very same industry where they've earned their billions, in that same industry where they're not making as much money as they used to make. All of these artists that are involved in this beef, this said triage, this said musketeer, all of these people, this pack, this little civil war, all of these artists are tied, more than likely, in some cases, some of them are tied to the same record labels. Money is to be made. Streaming sales are to be made. Folks, artists have debt to pay off. So, of course, there's other elements. And then, of course, the criminal element has always been there, as it has always been a part of Hollywood. You know, it has always been a part of Hollywood in that regard. So I get it. People saying, well, you know, all these other people do this. Yeah, they got something else different here, what they do with black artists, just in general. They do with black artists. You know, they can be on the tracks talking about what they wish would happen to one to the other. But money is to be made. The algorithm is supposed to be generated. You got all types of people going to try to eat off of it. And, just to put this out here, just to finish this last part. Remember, folks, as long as they can sort out what they're going to be doing concerning Diddy and how they're going to move on the next wave of quote-unquote roundups, this is a perfect quote-unquote attention seeker right now.
And real quick, we're not saying they don't kill white artists. Allegedly, we know what happened to Elvis. We know what happened to Heath Ledger. They be smoking on a white pack in Hollywood all the time, too. They be locking up some of their business rivals as well, what we saw to Harvey Weinstein. But they do it at a faster rate when we're talking about music. I'm talking about music. I'm not talking about acting, because a lot of actors and actresses get knocked off. I mean, we saw what happened to Brittany Murphy, but allegedly. But when it comes to the music industry, they be having these black people on steroids when it comes to their demise. And also, this is enough wisdom and political talk on this. Because when the disc records drop, we're going to get back to the humor.
All right, y'all. We love you all very much, and we'll see, right, what was going to take place. We just wanted this particular stream to be out there to let you guys know on the other side of the game of what's happening. Again, you're talking about a music industry that's damn near on wick right now, okay? They're laying off niggas, and they got to find a way to generate some interest. This is all going to be promoted with all of these particular artists that can be seen as legacy artists as well, where they can come out of retirement at any point in time, or their sales go up 400% when something unfortunately happens to them. All right? We love you all so much. Be sure to subscribe to our Patreon, where these types of conversations that we go further into, with also our exclusive streams now that we go on further to it on our Patreon. Go ahead, Sing.
And also shout out to Strategy King using our joke,
what he
blackface Drake, and using it against Drake.
That is true.
And Strategy King misbehaving as usual.
All right, Strategy King, we love you too, Play. Tell Kanye West we said hi. All right?
He been getting on my nerves. I see he getting on my nerves.
I want him to jump back into the chat again.
You know, but I don't know.
Why should he speak on that man's name?
But to be fair, I don't know him personally either, so I'll try to keep it.
The government been getting on my nerve. There's a lot of shit been getting on my nerve.
More than anybody
Biden
else.
And Trump been getting on my nerve.
Fucking dumbass crackers that be on X been getting on my nerves. Benny stupid ass and Elon Musk. Elon Musk is such a fucking instigator.
What happened?
He also instigating with other countries too. That's why his karma is gonna be bad, man.
He trying to get a missile to hit America.
He trying to get a missile to hit him.
How do we not know if he's a spy? Ladies and gentlemen,
South African German spy.
We don't know Elon Musk. The hell is going on?
All right, on that note, I'm out. Peace. Count it. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it. Count it up. Count it up.
That's what Universal doing behind this beef. All right, y'all. We out. Peace.
turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Black folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
If he dies, he dies.
Go to our Patreon for more. And don't bother me.